day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe you're good-looking, so always looking for and finding the good. You found good in abundance because you are investing your most valuable asset to listen to and be involved with. Eye on Las Vegas, one of the most interesting places in the entire United States of America, in the entire continent of North America, in the entire world. And we are just so honored to have today a just remarkable fellow become a friend. And we're just going to have a lot of fun together because we're going to talk about that which really is an important aspect of any city, any urban environment, and especially Las Vegas. So your humble host, Barry Shore, known as the Ambassador of Joy. And again, you've tuned in because you care the most in the entire world about you, YOU, which is cool because when you become the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love. So welcome right now, my dear beloved friend, wonderful Lieutenant Steve Ribak. Welcome, Steve.
Good morning, Barry. So glad to be here. Honored to be on the show, and really looking forward to speaking with you and to your audience.
Yes, we have, thank God, a worldwide audience. So let's be blunt. Las Vegas is let's call it a world city. I just made up the term, but it's a world city. We're going to give just a few pieces of data because it's always fascinating. I have a number of podcasts. One of the more famous one is The Joy of Living, which touches over 380,000 people around the world every week with millions and millions of downloads. So we have people all over the world who are going to be tuning in right now. And it's just so fascinating because I am a recent I want to say inhabitant. I'm a recent resident. That's it. A recent resident of the Las Vegas area. I live in a place called Henderson, which is outside 17 miles, 25 minutes from the famous Strip, what everybody knows about Las Vegas. And I'm glad to be here. We came and moved from a wonderful place called Venice Beach, California. And I must say, California has changed a lot. We came to Las Vegas and we're just so happy. We like the people. We like the climate. We like the energy. We like the growth. And I specifically asked that you be on the show and you kindly consented. And I'll tell everybody, I said Lieutenant Steve Ribak. So people think lieutenant might think, okay, he's in the armed forces. Well, he is, but in the best armed forces, not just the United States Army. He is a lieutenant on the Las Vegas Police Department. And you can tell those of you who are watching, that I'm older than most of the people here because our audience, generally speaking, is under the age of 35. I'm 75 chronologically. So I grew up in a time and a place and still my mindset where the police are honored, respected, and recognized for the very difficult, important work that you do. You hear that? I say that you. So Lieutenant Ribak, Steve, let's just jump right in and talk about what it is, Las Vegas. How does one police an area that is tens of square miles and, as we looked up before the show began, 40.8 million people visiting in the course of a year. Let's talk about what you do. So just give us some information about what Lieutenant Ribak, who he is, what he does. Why did you get into policing?
Well, very, very good. Thank you so much for the intro. And so I work as a lieutenant for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. I do not live in a casino, as a lot of people think. Outside of Las Vegas, everybody must live in a casino. But certainly, as you mentioned, 40 plus million visitors every year. So the tourism is a huge aspect and component of Las Vegas. But outside of the Strip, there's the county, the city and the county, which Las Vegas Metro, my police department, we cover, I believe it's a little bit over 8,000 square miles. So it's you say tens of square miles. Don't mean to correct you on that, but it's a greater area than just the Strip. Certainly the Strip is a huge component of it. But there's, probably, I think, as we mentioned before the show started, probably close to 2.5 million people in the greater Las Vegas area that, for the most part, Las Vegas Metro is entrusted to keep the greater community safe. So it's a large area. We have 10 area commands, or what we call substations, and we cover. That includes the Strip, which that station has the most amount of officers assigned to it, because the Strip is a place that, of course, we want to keep our citizens safe, and our citizens safe that even if the citizens are coming in for a weekend or a few days of vacation, they fall into our area that we partner with and trying to keep safe. So as you mentioned, I work as a lieutenant. I've been on the department a little bit over 26 years. I only look 30 years, but that's okay. But been on a little over 26 years. I work at one of our area commands out in the Spring Valley area. It's an area to the west of the Strip. So for people trying to get a kind of a geographical area, and then another area kind of goes close to the Summerlin area, and kind of spreads in the central western area of town. And I am in charge and tasked with overseeing the day shift over there, which encompasses several squads, including our field training program over there as well.
So let me unpack a few things here, because you've been so articulate and mentioned a number of items, and I want to emphasize the one that is most critical when it comes to policing. And because of what's happening in the United States of America right now, so we're in the year 2024. There is, or it seems to be to most people, a breakdown in law and order in a lot of metropolitan areas. You can point very easily to New York, to Chicago, to Minneapolis, to Portland, and it's too easy to go on. I also want to put in perspective that when Lieutenant Ribak mentioned 40.8 million, let's just call it 40 million people visiting the Las Vegas metro area every year. To put that in perspective, that is more than the population of California, Oregon, and Washington State combined.
Wow.
And that's the number of people that come every year. Yeah. So the idea of safety is, I believe, the number one goal in policing. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. And I think, if not right in line with that, a very close second is the relationships that the police departments have with the community. And I think for us in Las Vegas, and I mean, admittedly, this is all I've known, a greater part of my life, but it at least appears to me that we do the relationship building very, very well, maybe even better than some of these other cities that you mentioned, because we have a tagline. We tout that we're partners with the community, and I think we truly show that in our relationships, in our continual building with the community members. That in some of these cities that you mentioned, they had riots and a lot of angst against the police, and certainly we had some of that here, but we were very quick to quell it. I think our reputation with the community stands for itself, where we're very transparent when we do have uses of force or officer-involved shootings. I think a lot of the problem that went countrywide, and it still stands today, I think it's based on fallacy. It's not based on evidence. It's a lot of anecdotal evidence that people think that the police are out in mass, hunting down or gunning down, or systematically finding people that they're just going to take advantage of, whether it's blacks, Hispanics, females, minorities, and kind of a vigilante type of a system, and it's just completely untrue. And it's not.
This is something also I want to. I'm so glad you brought it up. People call it social media, I deem it the anti-social media, because what it does is it creates an anti-social atmosphere that pits one against another.
Right.
And in this particular case, the two most important aspects of living in an urban environment and living in safety, it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody wants safety. It's a primary aspect of being alive. And the two most important aspects of that are the police department and the fire department. So
Yes.
I'm going to just tell you a quick story, and I think this is what you're talking about, relationships. There's a very famous situation that happened in Chicago, interestingly. That's over 40 years ago. I have the video of it. I've watched it a number of times. And everybody thinks, what does a fire department do? Fire department puts out fires. Well, that's not true. 92% of what the fire department does is mostly medical, saving people from heart attacks and transporting people and such. But the reason it happened that way and shifted is because a great study was done that showed that when you go out into the community and create relationships, and in the fire department, what they did is they went to schools, businesses, office building and such, and taught people how to prevent fires. Then the number of fires that happened declined so much that it went from, let's say, 80% was what people thought fires do, down to less than 12%.
Wow.
And now I think that you've demonstrated already, and maybe we can do some one or two situations you'll tell us specifically that are part of your portfolio. Creating relationships in the community may be meeting with the people who are the head of, let's say, the Asian American community, the Black community, the Spanish community, the white community, the Jewish community, the Catholic community. In other words, every community really wants to live in safety and in harmony. Right. And how do you do that? By showing that you are first and foremost a safety person. That is called police, as opposed to coming in and say, I'm a police person. So tell us some of the initiatives that you actually do in building relationships.
That's a great question. And I think really it comes down to what has happened over the last several years is the police profession and police officers as a whole, they have been dehumanized. And so I think people forget that we are human beings. We are, we're not robots. We are out there making split-second decisions, literally in a blink of an eye, that can change people's lives. I don't know any police officer that I've ever met that has said, "Oh, I can't wait to get into use of force. I can't wait to get in an officer-involved shooting." I guess it's nonsensical. If anything, we train relentlessly in a process called de-escalation, where we're trying to do anything but have a use of force. And statistically speaking, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think probably, the average citizen has probably a greater chance of being struck by lightning than getting involved in a use of force with an officer. But specifically back to your point, two things I want to address. First of all, some of the programs that we do, we certainly hit all the different diverse communities that you talk about. And one that I think is very unique to Las Vegas, that the department is involved in, as well as myself for several years, is a prisoner reentry program called Hope for Prisoners. And so,
I'm sorry, can you say it again?
It's called Hope for Prisoners, HOPE for prisoners. And it's a program, it's a reentry program that the police have partnered with this organization, where these are men and women coming out of the justice system who have been convicted of crimes, and we assist in the process of reintegrating and getting them back into the community. And it's very counterintuitive, because if you think about it, especially for me, growing up on the police department, my job is to, catch bad guys, catch bad girls, take them to jail. I kind of had that mindset that, once I arrest somebody, that's not my problem anymore. I've done my job. Now it's somebody else's. And so the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department has kind of taken a different approach with that, it's our problem in the community when there's crime, and we're going to fight crime, but it continues to be our problem that we should be attentive to after the fact. And so There's mentorship programs. It's teaching, it's relationship building with the police with this reentry program after they're coming back from serving their sentence and paying their debt to society. So it's
This is so enlivening, so helpful. We're going to go to just a brief commercial break. Everybody stay tuned. There's a great acronym for, you said, HOPE for prisoners. HOPE stands for helping others progress every day. And that's what you're talking about. So we're going to take a brief break. It's not even a minute. We love our sponsors. We wouldn't urge you to use them if we didn't vet them. We'll be right back after this brief message with more Lieutenant Steve Ribak.
What if you could shop at your favorite local stores, swipe your current credit card, and get extra cashback rewards? And what if you could also have donations sent to your favorite cause at no extra cost to you? What if this amazing program was absolutely free and very simple to set up? Well, What If is here. Welcome to Einstein Cares, where your everyday shopping gives you and your favorite cause extra money. It's fast, it's easy, and effortless.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance. Our cup runneth over with good. His name is Lieutenant Steve Ribak. He's lieutenant in the Metropolitan Police Department of Greater Las Vegas. And as we said before, Las Vegas, everybody in the world has heard of Las Vegas. And almost 41 million people come and visit the city every year. That's a lot of people coming through the city. And there's plus an additional 2.5 million people who live here, who service the population and just be. And Lieutenant Ribak is helping us understand that, first of all, police is not only not a dirty word, it is an enlivening, helpful, safety word. Think police, think help, think police, think safety. He just told us about one of the initiatives that they're working with in relation to the community called Hope for Prisoners, because, as he said, catching the bad people and putting them into jail or going through the justice system, when they come out, they could be a different person. If you give people hope, guess what happens? You have a chance. Just like for us as citizens, we need to understand police are human beings first. And if you dehumanize the police, then you're hurting your own chances of safety. So we want to create an atmosphere of harmony, joy, happiness, and peace with the police, the fire department, and us as citizens. So that was one of the programs that you're working on. Can you tell us, you said there are a couple. Is there another one you can think of?
Well, I was saying two aspects. I mean, there's several different programs that we partner with. There's a youth mentorship program, a dream program that has recently been started, trying like a diversion type of a program. And there is quite a bit, compared to other agencies. I'm not quite sure where we stand, but it seems like we are, from my perspective, we're very proactive, very progressive in that sense of really trying to engage with the community, not just when we're writing somebody a ticket or taking them to jail. But one thing I'd be remiss, I just kind of wanted to talk about the ins and outs about police, because if you really peel back the layers to police work, it's inherently all negative. And so if you really think about the police, I mean, I'm sure, Barry, you're a safe driver. You've never been pulled over or had any police interaction in your life. But,
I could tell you stories.
Let's assume so. But I'm sure there's at least one audience member that's, been pulled over in their lifetime. But if you think about it, that first moment that you're getting pulled over, you hear the sirens go off, you look in your rearview mirror, there's lights going off. And I could, you're a very positive person, Barry, but I would venture to guess that every single person, when they hear and see the police behind them, their first thought is not, wow, my day's about to get a whole lot better. It is not that at all. So when you really peel back the layers of what police work is, it's inherently all negative. We are We're pulling people over for doing bad things. We are seeing domestic violence. We're seeing and dealing with people when they're absolutely at their worst, when they're at their lowest points. And then here we are coming in to be these crime fighters, or, the superheroes, so to speak, and try to help people, solve their problems and their issues. 2:00 in the morning, somebody's kicking on your door. Who are you going to call? It's not going to be a social worker. It's the defund movement and the anti-police. I think it's dangerous, it's silly, it's nonsensical. But we are the ones that you're going to call, thankfully, and we're very well trained, and we are going to come and solve your problems. But with that, and the negativity that comes with the job, and the negativity that comes from the social media, or the anti-social media, as you put it so well, is the mental health of police officers. And so, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that that statistically speaking, and annually speaking, and countrywide speaking, police officers kill themselves more than they are killed in the line of duty. And it's a disgusting statistic, but it's something that I really think needs to get out there, because the mental health of police officers is very important. If you want the best of the best coming and responding when you have these situations, and the negativity and the betrayal that we're out there in mass, doing nefarious activities is just wrong. And it's kind of a death by 1,000 cuts, so to speak, with the cumulative trauma, the constant exposure, because we're seeing some just terrible situations and tragedies that are unique to that individual person, but it's then on to the next one for the police officers. And so an interesting statistic that I had seen, or a research study that I had recently seen not too long ago, is that the average human being, we're talking average, sees actually less than one significant incident, or has one that they view directly a traumatic experience, meaning they'll see it firsthand, or they'll be exposed to it firsthand. And the case could be made for police officers that it happens thousands and thousands of times in their career. And so when you take that, what we call cumulative trauma, it's that death by 1,000 cuts situation, where it's just compiling, and in and of itself, it's not the one cut that does the harm, it's the many of them, and that just constant exposure to this negative environment. So it's very, very important that officers have some self-care, and they engage in positive activities and positive exposures. And that's where I think that, job related, some of these positive relationship building programs that we have on the department is one of those that helps in that area.
I am deeply touched and moved, as I believe most of the thousands of people that are watching and listening are, the cumulative effect of being involved in negative situations on a regular basis, the dehumanization of the police profession, because it is a highly skilled, highly human profession, which needs constant training,
Yes,
updating, and love. Let's be blunt. You tell a story, people have 1,000 jokes about attorneys. Okay, maybe be realistic. However, attorneys don't get involved in traumatic or dramatic experiences every day. Police officers do.
yeah,
In the self-care that's now, let's talk about something very personal for you, and that is that you're a man of faith,
yes,
and of the Jewish faith, as am I. Everybody knows. I believe that is a very great, I wouldn't say counterweight, it's not the right term, but that is a wonderful aspect of your life that enables the self-care to be so strong that you can even weather the storms of continuous traumatic situation. Is that correct? Is that true?
absolutely, 100%. I mean, I think that, there's many components to help you get through a career where I'm holding it 26 years plus. but undoubtedly my spirituality and my trust and faith in God is the driving factor of my success. For sure. Just on it, I can't say it enough.
And I think that the reality of American life today is that not enough officers have that additional channel in their lives to enable to spread out that trauma. In other words, would that more people go to church or find some other spiritual outlet? I'll tell you, one of the things we talk about on my other podcast is we reframe the idea of law, because like you said, most people when they think of law, let's say the police, that spinning blue thing and rah, rah, rah. And I teach people the great acronym LAW stands for love and wisdom.
Mm.
You're in law enforcement, my dear beloved Steve Ribak. You're in law enforcement, love and wisdom enforcement. That's what policing is about.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you, a few more minutes. First of all, how many people in your particular, you're a lieutenant, so how many people do you serve in your force?
So I oversee the day shift, which is it's 5 squads, encompassing one of those is a civilian unit, and then 4 other patrol squads, 2 of which are field training squads, and there's anywhere from 7 to 10 officers on each squad, and they each one of those squads is overseen by a sergeant, and then we have 3 shifts at the station, and then as you expand out, as I said, we have 10 stations, we have a bunch of different bureaus, and then overall we have close to 6,000 employees on the agency, and about I would say I think we're about 2,700 police officers and corrections officers on the department.
Those are large numbers. And the good news is that in Las Vegas, we, the inhabitants, are smart enough to know that defunding the police means making ourselves stupid, involving danger, and it's just not worth it. We want more Lieutenant Rybaks who are people of faith so that they can channel that goodness. Like I said, law becomes love and wisdom. Please, just another minute or so before we have to say goodbye for this time. Are you going out into the community and interfacing with high schoolers and making sure that every high school is visited by a police officer in uniform?
Yeah, we have. So we do have school police that operates. It's separate from Metro, from my department and my agency. But we do have programs. Every station and every bureau has what we call COP. They're community-oriented policing officers, and so we specifically at my station and on the other 10 or the other 9 stations, they will go out and interact with the high schools and interact with the school police and make sure that they're known. And we try to make those positive interactions where that, as I mentioned, most of the time that the police are around, bad things are happening, but we want to change that culture, that we are approachable, that we are, we're humanizing and we're building those relationships, that we are around not just in those negative and bad times. We're also there for you because we care about your segment of the population and your community. And it's a great relationship. And I think it's evidenced by, again, how well we get along with community members and, the rioting and all the nefarious activities that are happening across the country. They're not happening here. And I think it speaks volumes, and that's exactly why it's not happening here.
Woo! I love that. It's not happening here. We have 3 quick questions for you before we close out our show today. And again, so thank you so much for being here. First question, ready?
Yes.
Will you come back again?
100%. Absolutely. I would be honored.
Thank you. Number 2, you have only 80 seconds to answer this question.
Ooh, pressure.
Lieutenant Steve Ribak, what is your most fervent desire?
My most fervent desire is just to, I think, leave my mark in this world and leave a good legacy. not only, at work. I mean, that's a part of what I do. It's not who I am, but I just think in general, for my family, for my children, and just to, it's almost I'm here, as we mentioned, a very observant, religious person. So I'm here to serve God. But with that, I believe you just have a duty to leave your mark and to do good on this world. And I think once you leave this world, the only thing that people are going to remember is your legacy. And so you can impart and instill that into other people. And that's what I'd like to do. And that's what I strive to do. I'm not always as successful as I'd like to, but
if you strive, you'll make it. You're a madman. You make a difference. And the third question, can I give you a hug in front of tens of thousands of people around the world?
Absolutely.
Let me tell you what HUG stands for: heartfelt, unlimited giving. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. This is Eye on Las Vegas. Don't go away, wonderful Steve. We'll be right back after this.